26 years. And I've worked for a lot of different people in baseball. Worked with Head First. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that.
Yeah, Head First Gamers.
Yeah, they are. Head First is I've worked with the group from Washington, D.C. Did a lot of different things for them. They do showcases, and then they also run the little kids camps for the Nats, the Braves, the Cubs, the Nats, Yankees, the Red Sox, and so I ran those. And then the last few years, I've just been working with Eric on college baseball match. So.
Nice, awesome.
So that's it. My father was a coach, high school and college. My sister's a college softball coach. So it's kind of what we do in our family.
Nice, that's cool.
Very nice.
Sweet. So you guys be thinking of questions to ask Coach Roc. So you said you played at Long Beach?
I did play at Long Beach State. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, you
in junior college I played in junior college first at College of the Canyons for Mike Gillespie, and that was a great experience. Mike was an incredible coach. Played for my dad in high school, and then went to Long Beach State. And
sweet. Sorry, my thing cut out for a second there. Did you play professionally, or did you want to?
I wasn't a guy that I thought was good enough to be able to make it professionally, especially to make it to the big league. It was either finish my credential, become a teacher and get my stuff done, or take my shot. And I don't think I was good enough to be able to do all of that. So felt like I was probably better off just doing what I did.
Awesome.
If I'd been a little better, I might have taken a shot at it.
Yeah, definitely. That's funny. Cool. Do you guys have any questions to ask Coach Roc? Anyone think of one to start it off?
Sure, I'll go.
All right, go for it, Jacob.
All right, so say you're at like a showcase and there's a coach you really want to talk to. How do you like go up and introduce yourself, or is there a certain way, like a good way to start off with a question or something like that?
Really good question. The first thing is that it depends a lot on the format of that particular showcase. A lot of the showcases have different formats, and some of them make it really simple for you to do that with the coach, and some of them make it very difficult for you to talk to the coach. If I was talking about the first showcase, they make it simple for you to talk to the coaches. The coaches are working in your dugout during the games, and they are wandering around, and they tell you when. And I think, to be perfectly honest with you, I think the best thing to do always in those, if you have a chance to talk to a coach, if he's seen you play, and that's the first question you ask him, if he's seen you play, and then you ask him, do you think I have a chance to come to your school? And what you're looking for is you're looking for a fast no, because a fast no will put you on the right path and it'll send you to the right coach. If you waste a whole bunch of time hemming and hawing around, what ends up happening is you maybe miss out on talking to the coach you should have talked to. You can ask him, do you think I have a chance to play at your school? And if he says yes, he will probably follow it up with something, a question like, why would you want to come to our school? And you need to have an answer for that. When you go talk to a coach, you need to understand what school he is, where he's from, and if that school is really a place that makes sense for you. Because if you're going to go talk to any coach, that's kind of a waste of his time and a waste of your time.
For sure. Yeah, good advice. Pat, can you hear us, or is your mic not working? Yeah, I think Patrick Webb, his mic is working.
Yeah, and it's not working for him.
Yeah, dang. Cool. Do you guys have any questions for us, Russell or Jacob?
Pat, you can do the chat. You got it in the chat right now?
Oh, yeah.
I got it.
Yeah, you can chat.
We could use that.
I got it.
My chat. If you have a question, Pat, just put it in the chat.
He texted me a question for you. So I have a question from Pat. So Pat's a catcher, and he wants to know, what attributes do you look for in a young catcher to possibly move up and play maybe JV or varsity instead of just the freshman?
Well, that's a really good question, Pat, because it is your freshman body is so much different than your senior body. that,
Yeah.
to be perfectly honest, guy that's pretty good with his feet. You got to be able to move your feet, and it doesn't mean you have to be really fast, but it does mean that there has to be some quickness to you. And it's pretty tough. If we got somebody that I don't isn't wandering around making excuses and telling everybody why he should have done this or done that, and just gets his job done and sticks his nose in it, I know he's going to be a pretty good guy for us to have behind the dish. Because when I coached, I spent a lot of time around the catchers. And it's funny because we took pregame almost every day, and the guys that I stood right next to for the entire pregame were the catchers. And so they probably caught more crap than anybody else on the field.
Yeah.
Got to be pretty tough on our team. And then the last thing is they have to be, when I look for a really good catcher, really good catchers they think of others ahead of themselves. They're the guy that makes the pitcher never have to think about himself, because the catcher is constantly thinking about the pitcher. So when that ball gets by the catcher and the catcher goes to get it, I look to see if he's upset and angry at himself, or if he's trying to get the ball back to the pitcher and tell the pitcher, my bad, I'll take care of it, don't worry about it, keep working, man, you're doing great. And that's the kind of guy that makes a really good catcher. As far as the physical skills, I think the throwing is important, but I think your quickness is more important, because being able to transfer and get rid of the ball compensates a lot for an arm that's not a great arm. And the other part is the ability to be in charge without having to push people around. And I think that's a really important part. In charge, but when they start pushing people around and acting like a big shot, that completely goes against, I think, what makes a really good field general as a catcher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right.
Awesome.
Who do you think's the best catcher in the big leagues? Who do you think's a good guy that they can look up to at the catching position?
Well, I'll tell you, just to emphasize my earlier point.
Yeah.
One night, left-hander for the Giants. What's his name?
Who is that?
The left-hander for the Giants that
Bumgarner?
Baumgartner was throwing.
Okay. Yeah.
Baumgartner, you know how he likes to hit, and enjoys being a hitter.
Yeah.
So he goes up to hit, and it's a tight game. It's like a 2-1 ball game, and he goes up to hit, and he strikes out.
Mhm.
He comes back to the dugout. He's upset.
Yeah.
He's upset because he didn't get the same call when he was at the plate that the other guy was getting when they were at the plate.
Mm-hmm.
Back and he takes his helmet and gets ready to slam it off. Well, I don't know why, but they happen to have a picture of the dugout going on. And Buster Posey was sitting in the dugout. And Buster Posey watched him walk into the dugout and watched him being angry and being upset, and watched Bumgarner getting ready to slam his bat down. And you could see Posey just about ready to stand up. And Bumgarner takes his bat, stops about halfway, and just sets it in the bat rack.
Yeah.
Posey, as he was starting to get up, he just sat back down and didn't say anything and acted like nothing was happening.
Yeah.
I think that guy has been a great catcher for a long time. I know that he has the best tools, but he certainly is a guy that helps his pitchers a lot and helps the team a lot by the way he does himself.
Definitely. That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, you need to have, just being a pitcher myself, you need to have a good relationship with your catcher, if you want to have more success on the mound. So, that's huge, having a catcher like that.
Makes everybody on the team better, I think.
Yeah,
The
definitely.
position.
Yeah, most important position for sure. Awesome.
What position do you other guys play?
I'm like a center fielder and a pitcher.
Okay.
Oh, you're muted, Russell?
Muted, I'm a catcher too, so yeah.
Nice.
Catcher
Yeah.
also.
Got
That's
some
good. You're
catchers in
getting a
there.
lot of good catcher stuff there.
Awesome.
Yep.
Sweet. Who's got a question? Keep it flowing. I'll give you guys a little time to think. Who are some of the best players you've coached?
I think the very well, Logan Webb, who's with the Giants right now. Of course, he was at our place 4 years ago. And Logan was a really good player.
Mhm.
So he was a pain in the butt his early years.
Yeah.
Got in some trouble and didn't follow the rules very well.
Yeah.
By the time he was at the end of his year, he was a pretty good leader. I think the very best player we ever had at our school, just in playing the game of baseball, I don't think he was the most toolsy guy or that he was like 5'7", but man, he could really play. And his Nick, he was shortstop. He went to Saxon, and now he is. He left high school, and this is interesting for you guys, I think. When Nick was in high school, Nick, we had him as a Division III guy, what I thought he probably was at that time, and the Division III guys were all over him. Wanted him to come to their school. Occidental wanted him badly.
Mhm.
And Nick told me, I said, Nick, what do you want to do? And he said, Coach, I want to play Division I baseball. And he said, so I think what I'm going to do is go to junior college, play 2 more years, just keep getting better. And hopefully at the end of those 2 years, I'm going to be able to go to a one school.
Mhm.
Nick is now, next year will be attending the University of Arizona on a
Nice.
scholarship. And
Awesome.
yeah, got to the point he ended up being the player of the year in their conference 2 years in a row.
Wow.
I think if you had to pick one guy that was the best player, he was probably the best player. He wasn't the, he's just a little guy, not incredibly physical, but man, he could. And what he did really well, and I think this is important. The play that is made keeps you in the play that is made off of the play that isn't made is a. And Nick would always make a play on a play that wasn't made. So if the third baseman ended up missing a ball, somehow Nick was always there, and he would find a way to get backdoor the runner that nobody else would ever get. I think those are the things that make you really, really good and win games for you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Making the play keeps you in the game.
Mhm.
And he always looked for the next play.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of that kind of reminds me of Derek Jeter. You guys might remember that play against the Oakland A's. I think it was in the ALCS or something like that. Just a play like that, that's super random. He shouldn't be there, but he's just scouting the field every play, just looking to do something extra. So that's kind of an iconic play when I guess you talk about those extra plays there that shouldn't be made, but that help you win games. Cool. Yeah. Awesome. You guys think of any questions? If you have a question, Pat, you can type it in the chat here. I'm reading the chat, so if you think of one, you can type it in there. Or if you, Jacob or Russell, have one, just throw it out there. Keep it going.
I'll go.
Wait.
So, like, say you're playing center field and like it's like a hot day or something, and you're getting no action, and like at any time there could be the biggest play of the game and you're involved. How do you stay like ready to make that play, even though you're just bored out of your mind out there and just like waiting for it to happen?
Good question.
You're not digging holes in the grass. Is that what you're trying to stay with?
Swatting flies out there.
Yeah, I've done that before.
Yeah.
That's a really good question, and I think, to be honest, I think that some people have a personality that kind of lends themselves to being able to. There's something called diffused learning and concentrated learning, and they're 2 different things. The diffused learning is when I allow myself to go away from a thing that is right in front of my face and be somewhere else. And then concentrated learning is where I'm stuck in that place. And what the scientists have figured out is when they've done the brain research, is they know that when you're doing concentrated learning, can you imagine a pinball? Have you ever seen a pinball machine before?
Yeah.
And the ball bouncing between like 3 of the bumpers and just going and not coming out of those 3 bumpers and just staying there the whole time. That is an example of focused learning. And what they know is that the neural pathways in your brain, the things that pass the signals along, those, you get stuck in a certain space when you're really concentrating on something heavily. when you take time to diffuse, what they've found is it actually opens new neural pathways. And so what ends up happening is instead of you being stuck on just this little space, your brain opens up, and it allows you to when you go back to that thing that you're thinking about, it actually allows you to think of it in bigger terms and see it in a new way. And you may have experienced that before. You do a homework problem, you're stuck, you don't know what to do, and you don't know how to do it. You go away for a little while, go for a walk or do whatever, and all of a sudden you see it and you go, oh, that's how I do it. Well, that's the idea of focused and diffused learning. And you brought up Derek Jeter, Jackson, and I think that's the point, because Derek Jeter, I think, is the very best learning. If you watch Derek Jeter in between pitches, he'll be smiling at his teammates and smiling at the guy at second base and generally just diffusing his thinking. As soon as that play gets ready to start, he is spectacular at concentrating.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so I would say to you that what I would do is I would practice the difference between diffused learning on a baseball field and concentrated learning on a baseball field. And as you, when you are concentrating and ready for the next play, and diffusing won't be such a problem anymore. So when you start to space out in between pitches, that may not be so bad.
Nice.
You have to be able to concentrate better.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. That's cool. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to stay locked in every second if you're playing a 3-hour game and you get, maybe 2 minutes of action the whole game. So, yeah, you kind of want to pick and choose your battles and take advantage of that time where you need to focus so you're not wasting energy when you don't need to.
You got to like what you're doing with your friends and like what you're doing on a baseball field.
Yeah.
If you enjoy it and you enjoy just the experience of being around everybody, and some people stay kind of halfway angry the whole time they play.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's hard to sustain over an extended period of time.
Yeah.
I think you gotta get to the point where you just literally enjoy hanging out.
Yeah.
And you see that as hanging out with your buddies.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you do need to diffuse, and learning when to diffuse and when to concentrate. That's a mark of a really, really good player.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. I'm a big Warriors fan. I'm actually wearing my Warriors shirt right now. But a big guy I look at is Steph Curry. Like, if you watch Steph Curry before a game or even during a game, he's just having fun. But he can have fun because he prepares so hard and so well. So he has that ability to have confidence and still have fun in a game. So I kind of look at that as, a really good mentality to have is if you're putting in your prep work and you've done everything you can before a game to get better, then you can just go out and enjoy it and just let it be muscle memory. Let everything be muscle memory and just, have fun playing the game that you love.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I like watching him. He's got a really cool mentality, and he's got a pretty good resume. So
you
can't discredit him.
No.
Sweet.
Hey, Coach, I think Pat had a question.
Yeah, Pat's got a question. He said, what does it take mentally to make it to a higher level in high school early?
Pat, to be perfectly honest with you, the guys that we had that were young guys that had success, they were grinders. They were guys that didn't get too high and didn't get too low. They just went along, did their job, and the most important attribute I think they had is they just had an uncanny ability to help their teammates be better because they're there. They weren't afraid to do any job. It didn't make any difference what the job was. They just jumped in and did it. And they found a way. They were thinking about others more than they were thinking about themselves, I think, most of the time. And that's a rare commodity in a very young player, because that usually takes somebody a period of time to learn how to not be so self-centered when they're playing. If you can learn how to think of others, and I think that starts probably more at home than any place else. The vast majority of those guys that were really good when they were young were a little bit afraid of their mom, and they treated her with respect.
Nice.
I think that you learn how to be a man and think think of others and do that when you respect time, and you don't have to be respectful all the time. And those are the guys that, as young players, were our very, very, very best players. One of them that comes to mind is a guy by the name of Austin Deemer, who ended up at Cal State Fullerton and then played in Italy for about 5 years. And he was, and Justin Castro, who was center field for the UC Irvine in their World Series, on their World Series team. Both of those two guys, I mean, they thought of others ahead of themselves.
Mhm.
So, and they were, far ahead of their years in doing so.
Yeah. That's a good characteristic to have as a ball player, because especially with baseball, there's not one guy that's going to win a game. So if you have a guy who's good, but he makes everyone else good around him, then that's a special quality you don't find very often.
No, and it's a quality that can be especially, that's why being a young guy and doing that is difficult. Being a senior and doing that is pretty much status quo for what happens.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a quick story on that. We had a guy, we were playing in a section championship game, and we had a guy on our team who never plays. He's a senior, and he never played. Never, ever, ever, ever played. And we were in our last practice. We had a guy named Pat Stover who ended up going to Santa Clara and been playing in the Dodgers organization for a while. And Pat was taking extra BP, and I'm working in the bullpen with one of our pitchers, and I hear somebody running into the fence behind me. And Pat could hit the ball a long way. Long balls were hit the fence, and the guy that was running into the fence trying to make every play was this guy who never plays. His name's Brandon Odeon. And so Odie was trying to make these plays, jumping up, knocking into the fence, and I didn't say much. I just watched. So we go into the championship game. We're playing Granite Bay in the championship, and we're up 5-2. And we got a guy, a left-hander throwing named Matty Fielding, who went to Oregon and then to Irvine. And Matty's throwing, little left-hander, about 5'7". He was tough as nails. And so Odie, Matty has got a runner on first and second, and they hit a ball gap in left center field at Sac City. They score 2 runs. And so now the ball game's tied up, but Brandon Odeon comes to me and he says, "Coach, the first guy missed home plate." And I said, "What?" He said, "Coach, the first guy missed home plate." So I went out and I appealed to the umpire, and the umpire rung the first guy and sent the second guy back to third base.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
They ended up not scoring. We win the section championship game.
Oh, man.
And guess who gets carried off the field?
Oh,
Wow.
dang. That guy who missed home plate is
The guy that
he's not sleeping for a week.
No. And so our guy that gets carried off the field is Brandon Odeon, who didn't play an inning.
Uh-huh.
He was locked in on everything he did, and because he gave everything he had all of the time,
Mm-hmm.
he ends up being the guy that is very
MVP.
in that game. Yeah,
Yeah. That's awesome.
that's what it is about making everybody around you better. It's by being the best you can be.
Yeah. That's really cool. That's crazy.
That's a good story.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't miss home plate.
No.
Let that be a lesson, boys. Don't miss home.
On the flip side, one time I was playing a game as a freshman, and I tripped coming home, and I missed the plate, and then went back and re-tagged it, and I got called out. But I had touched the plate, but I got called out for not touching the plate.
Oh,
I had that happen where I touched the plate, and I get called out for not touching it. It was crazy. Yeah.
is that the way that rule is supposed to go?
What was that?
Is that the way that rule is supposed to go?
No. I was just running home, and I pulled a Ryan Braun. I just fell on my face trying to go home. Yeah, it was rough. And then everyone's yelling at me for not touching the plate, and I actually touched it. It was a crazy. I stopped playing outfield after that. I just became a pitcher. Yeah. That's a cool story, though. That's awesome that guy was paying attention, especially in high school too. A lot of younger guys, you might think that they wouldn't be paying as close attention, but that's pretty impressive.
The there are. It's really funny, but there are hundreds, literally hundreds of stories like that that have happened during the course of those years, and that's why I felt so bad for you guys this year in high school that you missed out, because you don't know which stories you missed out on this year. You don't know what was going to happen, and I hope we can get this squared away so you guys can get back out there, because it's. I'm telling you, years from now, and I get together with my former players, and we get together fairly often. But I just, most of the time when we get together, I sit and laugh. And I sit and laugh because all they do is tell stories. And they tell stories about each other, and they tell stories about me, and go back and forth. And that's the most important part. And all of these things that you're doing, all of this conditioning and preparation, and this talk right here, all this is doing is preparing you to enhance that experience.
Mm, yeah.
That's the part that
Yeah. Definitely. No, I mean, I can think of countless stories just playing ball in high school or college. You know, like you just develop a brotherhood. You know, you're like a family with your teammates, and you guys, you know, you see each other every day. You see the best and the worst in people. So you know, you come up with a lot of good times together.
No, and that's, guys, I'll tell you, that Jackson's making a really good point, because that's really the people are the most important part of baseball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Having about how you keep your head in the game and all of those things, it's if the people are the most important thing, then you have a chance to always have 9 different things going on at once around you, or 20 things going on at once around you. If the most important part is the game, you're not going to be much of a player.
Yeah.
The most important part has to be the people around you and the experiences that you have with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know, even playing professionally, like, you know, you're kind of doing it for your own career professionally. You know, you're trying to climb the ladder, but if I'm in like a pro locker room, you know, we're all friends with each other. We all make memories together. We're not wishing the worst for guys. You know, even at that level too, you're just trying to make memories and grow with people and make friends. So, you know, like high school, college, it's the same. You know, like if you're just in it for yourself, and you know that's your sole focus every day, then you know it's going to be a lot harder than if you're, you know, enjoying it with people you actually care about.
Definitely.
Go ahead. We had a guy by the name of Cody Pruitt, and Cody was another guy that never played. He was on our he was in the first graduating class, graduated in 1997. And Cody was a really intelligent young man, but a terrible player. I mean, he couldn't play a lick. And it's the very first year we had seniors, and we come down to the last game of the league season, and nobody's ever won a league championship at Rockland High School in any sport. First year we had a chance to win a championship. So we go to Wood Creek, and we're tied for the league championship. And we played them on a Friday. Well, the practice on Thursday started to drag a little bit. Started to drag. It wasn't real sharp. It wasn't real good. And I was actually getting nervous. Well, I was down running the bunt station. The same bunt station we run every day. And we were all dragging, including me. I don't think I had my best that day. And Cody shows up. This guy that's never going to play, never going to have a chance to get on the field. He shows up, and he's flying around that bunt station like a mad fiend. And all of a sudden, the intensity comes out of nowhere for the bunt station, and then it carries back onto the field. And pretty soon, our practice is really good. And we go to Wood Creek the next day, and we get off the bus. And usually, I get off the bus first, and I stand there and wait for the guys. Well, I got off the bus, I set stuff down, and I turned around, and everybody was already off the bus and walking towards me. It took them like 2 seconds off that bus because they wanted to play so badly. And I think it had a lot to do with the day before, because we were able to get after it in practice. And I think that set the tone for the next day. So we went in the first league championship at Rockland High School with a 5-3 win over those guys. So
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, that's cool. Sweet. Awesome. Anybody else have any questions before we wrap it up?
If anyone else doesn't want one, I'll go.
Yeah, go for it, Jacob.
All right, so there's like a difference. Like I can remember playing like an all-star type, like a little league all-star, like that's the only like highest level I can compare it to that I've played at. But like there's difference in those games because you only have 2 games, but compared to like a Babe Ruth game where like you have like 10 games left, how do you make a Babe Ruth game or play at the same intensity as you would like an all-star game, even though it's not that as important?
Jacob, to be perfectly honest with you, I'm not sure that anybody does. I think that people get jacked up for those special games, and it's hard not to. I think sometimes when you get jacked up, you have to calm back down, actually, to be perfectly honest with you. Because there's a place where you play best. There's a space that you get into that you as a player, you play your very best. And once you've experienced that, then what you try to do is you try to recreate that. And if it has to do with other people or other things around you, you're probably not going to be a very good player. What makes you the best player you can be is what's inside of your heart and what you like to do. And you're probably going to be pretty good. And that's why I say, for me, it was really easy because the people made the game fun for me. They made it, and every time I played the game for the game, I wasn't very good. Every time I played the game for the guy standing next to me, I was pretty good. So you got to find what it is that drives you, and use that every time for yourself.
Yeah, definitely. I know some of you may have watched the Last Dance documentary about Michael Jordan recently, but he would just make up stuff. I forget what story it was, but he had made up a story and told the media that one of his opponents told him something, and he used that sort of as fuel for him to play him the next time. What was that, Jacob?
Do you want me to tell the story? I know the story.
Oh, yeah, go for it. If you remember it, go for it.
Yeah, so they were playing a double back-to-back against like some like low-level team, and there was this new like a hot shot rookie that came into the league, and he scored 35 like the night before. And Jordan said that when they met up after the game, that he said something like, "Hey, nice game," kind of clowning Jordan. And Jordan the next night said, "I'm gonna score 35 in the first half against this guy to match his total," and and he scored 35, and then it was totally made up though.
Yeah, I think he told the media later on that he made that story up, but like he would just kind of make stuff up out of thin air, just to motivate him in a game that didn't really matter. So, sort of like you said, Coach Rock, I think a lot of it is just what's inside of you, like your intrinsic values. So like things that kind of drive you, not relying on the environment to drive you, but you know, whatever fires you up, you can find that sometimes. Some games it's harder than others. Some games it's easy. Some games, you know, it may take a while to get that out, but yeah.
It's baseball is a slow game, and teenagers have fast minds.
Yeah.
And those don't always mesh. And so don't be mad at yourself because your brain doesn't necessarily mesh with baseball right now.
Yeah.
What will happen is as you get older, your brain's going to slow down a little bit. And I don't mean slow down in its capacity to learn. I mean slow down in its ability to take a slower look at the things that are going on around you. And it's not going to need all of the immediate and quick gratification. So don't be upset that Babe Ruth game seems like it takes forever, because sometimes it does.
Yeah.
Just play and you'll be fine.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. I know. I think what separates a lot of great players, good players, is they're consistent in their approach. So, you know, if they're feeling good, if they're feeling bad physically, you know, if maybe they had a bad day off the field, they're pretty consistent with how they come to the field, work they put in, the preparation. Guys who, you know, that I've seen that don't really make it, sort of ride that roller coaster. They're not in it all the time. So I think if you can, you know, be consistent mentally, even if, you know, you're not feeling it that day or it's, you know, kind of dragging on, you know, then you'll set yourself up for more success.
We had a guy by the name of Ryan Larson on that very first team, and Ryan ended up he's 5'10", maybe 185 pounds, so he's not a big guy. And Ryan ended up playing AAA, probably way overachieving what he should have achieved. And Ryan, when he was in high school, when he was a sophomore, because I had those guys since they were freshmen, he was putting on his shoes one day in the dugout. And I noticed that he put his right shoe on first, put his left shoe on, tied his right shoe, tied his left shoe. And I watched him the next day. Right shoe on, left shoe on, tie the right, tie the left one. And so I asked his mom, I said, how's Ryan at home? And she said, well, and I said, how's his bedroom? And he said, it is immaculate. He has to have it this way all of the time. He never allows it to be anything but this. And that's the same way he played. And I think that his ability to be consistent, to your point, Jackson, was him a leg up on everybody else. And he did not waver from his consistency.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. I don't mean to cut you off. We have about 20 seconds before we get booted by Zoom, but just wanted to say thank you for your time. A ton of great advice from you. So we really appreciate everything that you said and for being here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.